participants, thank you for coming today. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Emma Lynch, and I'm one of the study abroad coordinators here in the office. I advise students who are interested in studying abroad in the UK, Ireland, Asia, Africa, Oceania, and semester at sea.
Hi, everybody. Mike Sandy, Study Abroad Director. I advise on all programs in the Western Hemisphere and co-advise the National Student Exchange with Netherlands. Glad to have you here today.
Hi, I'm Emily. I'm the GA, and you might see me at the desk if you come into the office.
Hi, my name is Nevena Teodosic. I am a study abroad coordinator alongside Emma and Mike, and I advise students specifically on Europe, except for the UK and Ireland, and then also assist in advising National Student Exchange, as well as our International Student Teaching Program. And then we also have Alexa joining us. So Alexa, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Alexa. I'm a junior and I'm studying abroad at Kingston University in outside borough of London. And yeah.
Great. Thank you for joining us. So the purpose of the session today really is funding your experience abroad. So we're going to cover financial aid, scholarships, and other means of helping support your experience abroad. Alexa did apply for scholarships and has received scholarships, so we asked her to join us so she can talk about her experience. So the first thing that we really want to jump into is really just a brief overview of programs that we provide, the program options. So if you haven't joined a Study Abroad 101 session, that is definitely your first step in terms of studying abroad. So they are provided daily throughout the week, and you can check in on, just drop by our office or send us an email or check out our website to see when those are scheduled. And those sessions, we really kind of cover a little bit more in depth about the different program types and talk a little bit more about financial aid and scholarships and your next steps, really. So the different program types that we have, starting out with short-term programs, travel courses. So BSU has programs that are created in-house in our office, and we work closely with faculty on campus. If you're on campus, you'll probably see some flyers around campus promoting these programs. These are 3 credits each at Bridgewater, and they're taught by BSU faculty, and BSU peers as well as community members are welcome to join the program. They're usually given over spring break, summer break, and winter break, and they last about a week to 2 weeks, depending on the time of year. So for an example, spring break, it'll be a week-long program. In the summer, it'll be 2 weeks, sometimes even more. Aside from that, we do have another in-house program. I already mentioned it earlier, but International Student Teaching. So for education majors that are interested in teaching abroad, that's an option for you. We do have students going to 8 different locations. So senior year, when you are required to student teach in Massachusetts for 8 weeks, you can choose to do the remaining half of the semester abroad at one of those 8 locations. And then for longer programs, we have semester and year-long programs, also summer, if you wanted to go for a longer summer program. It could be up to 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. But for semester and year-long, so we have fall semester, spring semester, or you can do an entire academic year, so fall and spring semester. And in terms of the different program types there, we have partners abroad that you can choose from. So if you'd like to study abroad with one of our exchange programs, this is a Bridgewater partner abroad. For an example, Limerick, University of Limerick in Ireland, we are partnered with them. So we're exchanging students. And in return, our students are actually paying Bridgewater tuition fees, and housing and living costs go to the host university. And aside from that, we do have Bridgewater in programs for semester and year-long programs. Also, these are partners like University of Limerick. However, the difference here is you're direct enrolling into that university. So you would be paying all payments to that host university. And then we do work with different companies as well. So affiliate companies that offer more options. And Alexa here is actually has gone through one of our affiliates, the companies that we work with, to go to Kingston University. So the company that we work with is sort of the middleman between us and the host university. So as far as payments, everything goes to that affiliate, that company that we work with. And then I already mentioned summer program. So the next thing that we'll cover is financial aid, and then we'll jump into the scholarships. And we'll also pull up our website where you can find all the information that we're covering also. Do you want to start? And where would you like me to?
Yeah, with financial aid. Yeah. So let me tell you just a little bit about financial aid for your study abroad program. Typically, your financial aid can travel with you for study abroad. This is especially true for semester programs where you're enrolled as a full-time student, and it may also be an option for short-term programs, especially where you can take at least 6 credits on that program. And what I mean by short-term is, what Nevin described earlier, like a summer program or even a winter program that may allow you to take more than 1 class. So you can use financial aid, so always keep that in your back pocket. The financial aid office does a lot of their advising with students by last name. So you might have a counselor assigned to you by your last name. You can always go in and sit down and make an appointment with them to talk about your aid package and what sort of program you're looking at and what of your financial aid will be applied to that program. So gives you a clear picture going in, how much you can expect of your financial aid to use, and then you can look at your program costs and talk with us about strategies to pay for the rest of that if there is something left over, or you might find that financial aid can cover that program cost. Anything else you would add about financial aid?
Yeah.
All right, great. Alexa, do you want to talk about financial aid? Did you use financial aid to study abroad?
Yeah, so I used my own financial aid package I got from the school. And kind of what you were saying, it's definitely important to go and talk to your advisor, because even I knew going into that meeting, I knew a little bit about what to expect and how much I was going to pay, but talking to my advisor, it made it a lot easier to also explain to like my parents as well, who were able to help me with this, like exactly what I'm going to be paying for, how much I need a budget for actually being here, and what like the actual costs are going to be. So that definitely helped.
Great. And sorry, Dad, I missed your question. Give me 1 second. Oh, that's fine. Whenever you want to study abroad, doesn't matter if it's now or later. That makes perfect sense. We're glad you're here now to start planning.
Okay, so we can jump into our scholarships now. So I'm just going to pull up our website and share the screen because there's a lot of resources there. Okay, so we have a very new website, which we're really excited about, but just wanted to point this out while I'm on the homepage. Our deadlines are always going to be updated up here, and our scholarship deadline is always updated here as well. So you'll see the next scholarship deadline would be March 22nd for summer or fall 22, as well as academic year 22 to 23. But on our website, also under finances, you'll see a lot of resources, and I'm just going to skip down to financial aid and BSU scholarships. And there's a lot of information here, but I'm just skipping down to our scholarships for now, just because we're going to talk about that first. Starting off with our BSU study abroad scholarships. So the very first one that you see on our website is our office scholarship. So this goes directly through Academic Works, which would be the link here where it says apply now. It'll take you to Academic Works. And that is where you're going to apply for this BSU scholarship. So this scholarship, like I mentioned, is through our office. So if you have any questions about the application process or the application in general, we're happy to answer those questions. But this goes for any study abroad program that goes through our office. So even travel courses, even summer programs, any affiliate, if it's an affiliate program, a company you're going through, you're able to apply for the scholarship. So really it's for any BSU student going abroad. And then you'll notice also we did something differently recently where we added focus scholarships. So essentially, if you feel that you would be eligible for any of the, you can see 1 through 5 listed out there. So for an example, if you're a STEM major and you're looking to take STEM courses abroad, you would be eligible for the BSU Study Abroad STEM Scholarship number 5 on the list. So what you could do is you could still apply for the scholarship, and then once you're in that scholarship, you could indicate that you'd like to be considered for that scholarship. So it's the same application, but basically you're checking off another box. And then the deadline will always be updated here as well.
Yep.
So that's the very first scholarship. And then I'll also talk about the foundation scholarship, and then we can ask Alexa her experience with both of these, because these are the two she did receive. So the Bristol County Savings Bank Endowment Fund for Study Abroad, as well as the Hart McFarland Award for International Study. These are both also Bridgewater scholarships through Academic Works. So it's the same database as the other scholarship I just mentioned through our office. So again, Bridgewater's scholarships, but it's not directly through our office, it's through a foundation. So you can apply for either one of these as well. So for an example, the Bristol County Savings Bank Endowment Fund for Study Abroad, this award supports BSU students making satisfactory progress towards an undergraduate degree and planning to spend a summer or semester studying abroad outside the US. So again, this is really just for anybody that's looking to study abroad. And then the difference with Hart McFarland is actually it's awarding a student who is going for a semester or academic year and immersing themselves in a language and culture of a non-English speaking host country. So for an example, Alexa wouldn't be able to apply for the Hart McFarland because she's in England, and that's an English speaking country. The award amounts are listed on our website, but these are pretty updated, I would say each year, because the fund is different each year. But something to note about these two particular scholarships are that they actually only open up once a year. They open up in February 1st. So today is February 1st, and they are open today, and they close in March. So for an example, if you are looking to study abroad fall of 22, you could apply now. If you're looking to study abroad spring of 23, you could also apply now. So it's just important to note that you have to apply a year out if you are going for a spring semester. So Alexa, do you want to just talk about your experiences with the foundation scholarship as well as our study abroad scholarship? Maybe talk about essays, things like that.
Yeah. So I'll be honest, it was a while when I did them. If I remember right, the Bristol County one was a little lengthier of a process, I think, than the study abroad office scholarships. However, both were definitely worth applying for. Also the Hart McFarland, if that like applies for your program, that's definitely worth applying for, because it really does help in the long run. Doing as many scholarships as possible really will help, and it does help with also just being here, not only for like paying for like tuition and fees and stuff like that, but just even having some money saved to spend while you're here or while you're at your program. And also just along with scholarships, this isn't kind with BSU specific scholarships, but with affiliate programs too, with their own set of scholarships, that also does help a lot as well, from my experience. So
Great, thank you. Do you want to talk about foundations? What? Do you want to talk about the, not foundation, sorry, the other scholarships?
Yeah, the other scholarships.
Regional, national.
All right, now I'm going to talk to you about regional and national scholarship opportunities, because there are so many out there, and we think more BSU students should be taking advantage of them, right? So what does regional or national mean? It just means that it's a scholarship that is not offered through BSU at all. It's offered through an external organization, and that could be the State Department or a nonprofit scholarship provider. And they have their own staff committees that make the decisions on who gets these scholarships, and students from a specific region or even from across the country can apply for them. So the first one that I love to talk about is the Gilman Scholarship for Study Abroad. So if you're a student who receives a Pell Grant as a US citizen, then this is the scholarship that's for you, really. because it awards up to $5,000 for a term abroad. There's no minimum program length. And we also have in our office what we call a BSU Gilman application program, which is basically a 3-step program that our office created to help students apply specifically for this scholarship. And anybody who completes that program, we give them a $500 scholarship. So even if you ultimately apply for the Gilman Scholarship and you never get it, you have at least $500 for giving it a shot by working with our office. In addition to the Gilman International Scholarship, there's also the Gilman McCain, which is very similar to the main Gilman Scholarship Award, but it's specifically for students who are child dependents of an active duty service member. That could be Marines, Navy, Army, doesn't really matter. And you can be receiving any type of Title IV federal financial aid. It doesn't have to be just the Pell Grant. It could be any type of aid. And for this award, it's $5,000 flat. So Gilman Scholarship, the main award is up to $5,000. So you could receive an award within a range of up to $5,000, but Gilman McCain is $5,000 flat. Then there are something called the Bourne Awards for International Study. So if you are really interested in maybe working for the government in some capacity after graduation, it doesn't have to be, you know, as a foreign service agent. It could be, you know, Department of Agriculture, Department of Labor. It could even be the Peace Corps. If you're interested in the Bourne Awards, they really are for students who want to study abroad in a non-traditional country, studying a non-traditional language that's critical to U.S. national peace, security, and economic prosperity. So this scholarship, for that reason, gives out a lot of money. You could get up to $25,000 for a semester or year. You could get up to $12,500 for maybe a half semester program or full semester program, and then up to $8,000 for a summer STEM program that they have. The next one on this list is the Fulbright Canada Killam Fellowships for study in Canada. So this one is a little unique because you would actually be very specifically applying to a study abroad through the Killam Fellowship to study in Canada, whereas Benjamin Scholarship, the Bourne Awards, you kind of choose your own study abroad program and apply for those funds to go towards that program. But the Killam Fellowship itself is specifically for study abroad in Canada. And they're kind of like our other foundation scholarships that Nevada was talking about, because there's one deadline per year. It's usually December, January for the coming year. So the deadline for Killam for this coming year, fall 2022 and fall 2023 has passed, but next year you could apply for future years. And what this fellowship is, it's $5,000 to study in Canada. And then there's also other stipends that help cover insurance costs or travel within Canada during the exchange. And a $5,000 award to study in Canada essentially covers the cost of study for that term. So it's a really good deal. You might only have like a couple $1,000 housing or meal costs that you would have to cover. So the next one on the list is called the Fund for Education Abroad. And like we said, this is one that is actually a nonprofit scholarship provider. It's open to US citizens or permanent residents. Your program has to be at least 4 weeks or 28 days in length. But preference is given to students studying the host country language or going to non-traditional locations, and certainly applicants that demonstrate financial need. And then they're kind of an umbrella organization. So at the bottom here where we say includes several different named and dedicated scholarships, what we mean is that you can go in and create one application to Fund for Education Abroad, and it matches you to as many scholarships as you may be eligible for. They give out between like, I want to say $1,250 and $5,000 for a semester as well. So again, this is a good chunk of change coming from this scholarship. And in past years, they've also included a regional scholarship that you can apply for it as one of the different named or dedicated scholarships is called the BASA Scholarship, which stands for Boston Area Study Abroad Association Scholarship. And the requirement for that was that you go to school in Massachusetts. So really easy scholarship to apply for through the Fund for Education Abroad. This is just more details on the Boston Area Study Abroad Scholarship. We just like to highlight it a little bit separately, just so that people see that, you know, scholarships aren't really just restricted to a certain type of person. Sometimes they can be easy to apply for because the eligibility criteria is very simple. So always give yourself that shot. The next is Freeman Asia. So this is really if you want to study abroad in East or Southeast Asia, then you apply for this scholarship. You have to have a minimum 2.8 overall GPA required, overall GPA that is required. And then similar to some other scholarships we've talked about, there's one application per year. So it hasn't opened yet this year for next year, but it will open soon this February and will close in March. And that's for any program that begins this summer through next spring. So again, this is the type of scholarship you really want to be planning in advance for, because it's only open once per year. But again, really good scholarship money from this scholarship. There's up to $7,000 for an academic year, up to $5,000 for a semester, or up to $3,000 for a summer. And a lot of our study abroad programs in Asia are really, really affordable. So this is good money that can help cover those costs. And then the last one that we'll highlight for now, this is the General Federation of Women's Clubs in Massachusetts. They have an international study abroad scholarship. So their awards start at 500, and I don't think we know what they go up to, but they start at 500. You need to be taking at least 12 credits. That doesn't matter if you're taking it summer, fall, spring, full academic year. As long as you're taking 12 credits, then they have a very simple application form that you fill out and email to them. So that's another one that you should give a shot if you're looking to apply for something. Again, not a whole lot of criteria here, just that you're studying abroad. In addition to these opportunities that are listed here on this regional and national scholarships page, I do just want to point out scholarships through our affiliates. So Alexa, for example, could have applied to a scholarship through API. And Alexa, do you know if you applied to an API scholarship or not?
I think I did a few.
Okay.
I'll be honest, again, it was a while ago when I was actually like doing the whole process of that. But I think I did a few. So yes.
Great. So if you're like Alexa and you're studying abroad with one of these specific affiliate providers, then you could apply to their scholarships. So for example, because Alexa studied abroad with API, or she is abroad right now with API, she couldn't apply for a CIEE scholarship because she's not on one of those programs, but she could apply for any API scholarship instead. In addition to those, we also have a couple of funded opportunities listed. So if you're looking for an opportunity that is competitive, but you think you've got the chops for it, it's something you're really interested in doing, then there are some study abroad opportunities out there that are completely funded, like completely paid for. You don't really have to pay for anything except for maybe your passport. The first one of these is the CIEE Frederick Douglass Global Fellowship. So the deadline for this summer is actually in approximately 2 weeks on February 14th. It's basically a cultural immersion program focused on leadership development for students who are typically underrepresented on study abroad programs. So that's students from ethnicities like American Indian or Alaska Native, Asian, Black or African American, Hispanic or Latinx, or even Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islander. You could be a freshman, sophomore, or junior, and you have to have at least a minimum 3.0 overall GPA. So if you're hearing about this now and you're thinking, oh, I really want to apply for this program this summer it's taking place in Dublin, Ireland, and we'd be happy to help you apply for this opportunity. Again, it's fully paid for. Another one is called the Critical Language Scholarship. So this is very specifically for critical language study. There's a list of 15 languages that are considered critical. They're listed at the bottom there. Arabic, Azerbaijani, Bangla, Chinese, Hindi, Indonesian, Japanese, Korean, Persian, Portuguese, Punjabi, Russian, Swahili, Turkish, and Urdu. So with this program, they say you're studying the language, you're not really picking a place. So you apply for the language you really want to study, and then you're assigned to a location where that language is spoken to learn the language. It's about 8 to 10 weeks, full immersion, intensive language study, and again, fully paid for. The last thing I'll just point out too is if you're thinking, wow, they really haven't given me enough resources here. Wait a second, there's even more. If you go to additional financial resources, there's even more listed here. So we're going to even talk about this in a little bit with Alexa about personal funding. But we have even more information about additional scholarships or scholarship search engines, resources that you can explore by clicking on one of these buttons.
Yeah, I think before we ask Alexa a few more questions about personal funding, I think I just wanted to touch base on some tips also. So for our first step is really thinking about your essays. So remember, when you're writing your essays, please remember that whoever is reading your essay, they cannot see you. They don't have a picture of you. They have no idea who you are. This is their first impression of you. So make sure that you are pretty explicit in your essays, talking about literally anything and everything. So for an example, let's say you did some volunteer work in high school. That's something great that you can add in your essay. So also have as many people as possible reading your essays. So Emma and I actually have read for some of those national and regional scholarships. So we're happy to read them over and give you some pointers, give you some advice. Also read them through, and maybe we can think of something that you've talked about previously with us that would be great to add to your essays. Have your friends and family also read it through. So your friends that went to high school with you, they could be thinking about that volunteer position that you had and you completely forgot to add it in your essay. So they can certainly make suggestions there as well. Aside from our office, we do, have the Academic Achievement Center on campus in the library in the basement. So they're always happy to read over essays as well. The Student Honors Office, what they're officially named?
The writing studio?
No. Student Honors, it's blanking on me right now. Sean's office.
The Center for Transformative Learning?
Yeah, they'll read
Yes.
over essays too, because they've definitely worked with some foundation scholarships previously also. And then again, just read through essays as much as possible. And then I did also want to mention again, for if you are applying for the Gilman Scholarship, Emma mentioned earlier, just a reminder also that we do have info sessions and writing workshops for those essays too. So if you're not even applying to the Gilman, it's a good idea to join the workshop so you can kind of get some ideas of how you can format your essays for other scholarships as well. So I think, Alexa, if you'd like to just jump in and talk about how you budgeted for your study abroad experience before, and also how are you budgeting your money while abroad. Also, if you'd like to add anything about the scholarships that you had applied for also, that would be great.
Yeah. So my biggest thing is to definitely try to save as much as you can and to use as many scholarships as you can, because when you get here, or wherever you end up going, you're definitely gonna want to immerse yourself as much as you can in the culture and in the life. And unfortunately, as amazing as it is, it does cost a decent amount. So I've definitely found that, for me personally, I worked the entire summer. I had money saved, like knowing that I wanted to do this. And again, like scholarships really did help, and it does put your mind at ease of when you're out somewhere with friends and you want to do something, you don't have to necessarily worry, well, do I actually experience this experience, or do I like save the money because I'm too worried about making it through the entire experience. So that's definitely, it's a nice peace of mind to just know like you'll be able to do what you want and be able to have like the right money and be able to budget for it. While being here, I definitely had to budget and definitely make sure I know what I'm spending and set even weekly to monthly budgets of how much am I spending? Am I using this for food? Am I using this money for travel? Like, how am I going to do this? So definitely planning it out to some extent. I mean, you don't have to get too as detailed, like super detailed with it, but for me personally, again, like it really helped to be detailed and say, okay, this money I'm going to use for this month to do day trips, and this money I'm going to use for food, and this money is going to be groceries, and then this money will be like out to dinner type food. So that also is really big part of it. And then you just mentioned to scholarships. For me, I applied to a few scholarships with Bridgewater as well as a few scholarships with API. Definitely the Bridgewater scholarships are extremely beneficial just because it is a smaller pool of people who are applying, whereas for me with the API scholarships, that was a larger group because there's clearly more kids who are going through API than through Bridgewater. So definitely take advantage of all the Bridgewater scholarships. Not that the API ones aren't good as well, but it is a little more competitive in that sense. But even so, it's still worth it to just throw an essay out there and just see what happens and try. So definitely is worth it.
So is there anything on site that maybe you weren't prepared for in terms of costs?
Sorry, that's my doorbell. I don't know if you heard that. Definitely was how much I've just been doing here. I mean, it is a limited amount of time, so, and especially with making friends, we have plans to do a lot of different things. And since, especially being in a city, there's so much to do, and you can only fit so much in 4 months and in a budget. So I wasn't fully expecting to just be constantly like going. So, and definitely with spending, it is hard to like rein in a little bit, but that was definitely one thing that did kind of surprise me with coming. But yeah, again, with this, as long as you save and budget and stuff, it really does help.
Yeah. Did you open up a bank account abroad?
I didn't, but one thing I did do is I got a travel credit card, which has been super beneficial. One I got was for American Airlines specifically, and actually I just did this today. Booking my flight to get here, I was able to save like $250, and then booking my flight home, it was only $200 because I was able to use the previous miles from this card. So definitely recommend, because it is a lot easier to just book flights just in that sense, as well as having like international fees and transactions. A lot of the credit cards that way are a lot easier than like a local bank account at home. So
and how much spending money did you bring with you for the semester? Did you plan it out ahead of time, or are you kind of going through the semester?
So I didn't set a specific number for myself just because I have like a specific number that I cannot like go over. But I did bring like a certain amount to use like just in cash for the month, and just I kind of am still in the phase of like testing out and seeing what how everything is like doing type thing, just because like I wasn't sure how much I was going to spend just to like acclimate and stuff like that. And exchange rates also are definitely something that you need, at least for me, I've had to keep in mind
Right.
that when something is £5 here, it's not actually $5 worth. So
Right.
I guess I haven't really had like a specific number, but I've been trying to keep, I don't know. It's like hard to explain. I've just been trying to manage how much I've been spending, but not like specifically like giving myself like, I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. It definitely does. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's all the questions I have. Do you have any questions?
No, I guess my one question is before you left for your study abroad program, Alexa, did you like look up a bank in the US that has a sister bank in the UK so that you could withdraw money without any fees? Is there any way that you're like that you're trying to avoid being like charged those international fees or exchange rates?
Yeah. So I did look up a few banks, but the ones I found, they're still like the sister bank still had some sort of international fees with the like paying and especially with withdrawing money from ATMs. So I personally just stayed with my bank at home and I just used the travel card wherever I go, and then I just am able to pay with my normal bank from that card, if that makes sense. I mean, there are different places that I found where you can withdraw money, like, or I guess, yeah, bills you can withdraw for free. With the ATM, you'll just get charged your ATM fee at home and not both like the ATM itself and the home fee, which has definitely helped. And also I've been trying not to also, I guess a tip would be is to withdraw larger amounts so that you don't have to pay those fees constantly. And so if you have like a decent amount, then you won't have to keep going back and forth. But yeah, this card I have actually doesn't, I forget exactly what it is, but the transaction fees aren't quite as much as what other banks and other cards that I found. So I've just been using that, and that's been working out pretty well for me so far. So yeah.
All right.
But it is good to have a backup too. Just I've dealt with that too. Yeah.
Do you have any other advice for prospective study abroad students in terms of funds or planning to budget out ahead of time for certain things? Any advice at all?
Definitely don't let the price scare you. Because I remember getting the number specifically for my program from Emma, and it was a little nerve-wracking of seeing how am I actually going to do this? How am I going to make it work? It is possible. It definitely is like you're able to do it. And definitely don't limit yourself to your opportunities wherever you end up or wherever anyone ends up. Because I mean, you're here and like you have to just take advantage of any opportunity, especially after the whole pandemic. Like it's just so unknown of what's gonna happen and when you'll be back in this location at the same time. So definitely plan ahead, so much so that you don't have to worry quite as much in the long run, I guess would be my biggest thing.
Yeah.
So
Great. Do you have any questions? I don't think so. Great. Well, thank you, Alexa, for joining us. I think it's really helpful from hearing from other students, even currently abroad. So any advice is really appreciated. So thank you so much for joining us. And I hope you have an amazing time.
yeah, of course.